another edition of Clan Chat. Aaron Murphy, joined by the head coach of the Glasgow Clan, Corey Neilson. And Corey, well, it's safe to say it's been a busy summer. How have you enjoyed the whole process so far?
It's certainly been busy, obviously, reinventing the group. I think, I haven't done it in a few years. And as I think I explained before, it was always tough as a coach just coming in and saying, here's your guys, go make them good. And, it's been a little easier this time around. I felt just because there's so many resources available to you. Like back in the day, you used to just kind of look at a website and see players' numbers and then have to call, 10 people and see what they thought of the player and old coaches and good teams and bad teams. And now I can just look at them. So I can see them, put my eyes on them and see if I like them as a hockey player first. And then obviously talk to them, see if I like them as a guy. And then you start to if you get past those stages, that's when you need the character references and all that kind of stuff.
It's a great point, Paul. You did say very early in the process that one of the things that made the possibility of coming to Scotland enticing was that it was going to be your sort of brand to build, if you will, your roster to build. And let's talk about that a little bit, because those couple of years away in Europe, you were really just handed a group and said, wave the magic wand and make the guys good. So you must be feeling very positive that no matter what happens now, this is your group and your systems. And like you said, the guys that you want to work with.
Yeah, I think I explained really early that a big part of hockey that I think has been lost, and what I found over the last bunch of years being in Europe and obviously coming back to the Nottingham team a few years ago, is just the overall competitiveness of the game. And, that's something that was around when I played, and now it's kind of phasing itself out. A lot of it's to do with the rule changes and checks to the head, and it's a lot harder to be combative out there and to hit people hard and be, competitive in certain contexts. But I think that there has to be a little bit of bite in a player. If you're asking them to, everyone, and I'm even seeing it now with the kids, everyone's pretty good at going through a set of pylons and making passes and stuff. And what differentiates one guy from another is usually their competitiveness, and they're willing to battle and they're willing to compete through tough seasons, and that's especially at the forefront of what I was looking for when I was recruiting, because the elite league's going to be tough. There's some good teams, some really good signings, so it's going to be a really heavy challenge, but I'm looking forward to it.
That's another great point. I mean, I think all people who are watching the signings come in from not just us, but all 10 teams. I mean, do you remember a time kind of keeping an eye or building your own teams in the past? I mean, this has really been a crazy off season with some of the players' names and some of the guys that are coming from really good leagues.
Yeah. Before, we were always lucky when we grabbed guys with American League experience or high end DEL, these kind of leagues, and be able to bring them in. But we were usually bringing in guys, let's say from the DEL, who were third, fourth liners. Same thing in the American League. And when we brought them in, we found that oftentimes they were good third, fourth liners, but they had the pedigree to hopefully be something better, and it doesn't always work. Sometimes it has in the past, but this year you see teams bringing in high resume players who have played higher positions in teams, first line D or first line power play guys, and that's the biggest difference now. I think, as you said, that the teams and the signings are really, really, really strong around the league. So I think it's just another way you have to be ready. You have to be ready to play every night. You have to have that mindset where you're willing to compete every night. And that's, if talent is, measurable and even across the board, if you can have an X factor of some sort, and maybe competitiveness or speed or whatever you have, I think you'd be successful on most nights.
Yeah, but it's a testament to the league getting better year on year. And you say that, and sometimes, I think every league would say, "Oh, we're getting better every year." But this offseason has been particularly memorable with some of the signings. Our roster looks really good. You've done a really good job, and I know you're excited. But you mentioned the word combativeness and competitiveness, and you would know all about that. I mean, look, some of the most competitive and combative guys that have played in the elite league or in the elite league era, the Cam Jansons, the McGrattens. I mean, you were able to go get guys like that, and you are right. The game has changed a lot, and is that something that you've kind of seen gradually, or has it smacked you in the face the last few years how the game has changed?
Well, it's certainly become phased out. Obviously, those heavyweight tough guys were phased out of North America as teams started to go with four lines of speed and skill, and they worked their way over to the UK. And then from the UK, they've kind of slowly been phased out. And when I talk of combativeness, aggression, toughness, it's sometimes even a little guy who's just willing to go get his head down and fight for a puck. And at the end of the day, it's fighting for your space on the ice, and there's nowhere to go out there. There's 10 guys, usually 10 guys on the ice plus two goaltenders. We count them as well, I guess. But you have to fight for your ice. You have to. You can't run away. So that was a big goal for me, and I found over the last bunch of years coaching, I found that's been lost, and that's something I wanted to recapture.
You look at Finley and McClellan, and both of those guys is really interesting to me. Speaking to them, I think they were at McClellan's wedding in LA when we got them kind of back to back on clan chats. They talk about, and they say it right away, "I'm not the biggest guy, but I will work for every 50-50. I keep my feet moving." And I think it's great when a guy knows, look, I'm 5'9", but I'm going to battle for every puck. And so that must have been something that enticed you. Two smaller guys on a pretty big roster, but you know that they'll bring it every night.
Yeah, and the chemistry. I think they played, I believe it was the University of Denver. They have that chemistry of playing together, bring a little bit of speed, some quickness. Obviously, we're quite big as a group, which is another thing that I really like. You get big guys who can skate. I mean, you see the NHL, how big and fast everyone is. It's a pretty good recipe. Obviously, we do have to be able to skate, and those two, I wouldn't call them little guys. I mean, Finner's probably a littler guy, but yeah, they do compete. They play hard, and after watching them, I'm really happy that they're joining us.
Yeah, when you watch video of those guys, they're always buzzing, they're always moving, and I think they'll be fan favorites, certainly. Again, you look around the league, and it keeps getting better and better. Does that get your juices flowing? Because you go, okay, I'm coming back here. This is a great opportunity. You've had some time in Europe. You build your own roster, and you go, okay, this is going to be a lot of fun because I'm going to get to match wits with some really good coaches that have won trebles over the last few years. You know Adam Keefe very well, of course, from your time with the national team. So this is just shaping up to be a lot of fun, isn't it?
Yes, it certainly has. I mean, obviously, back a long time ago, many years ago, when I started, there was just three or four really competent, really detailed coaches. Obviously, there's always good people in the game, but just teams who actually had solid plans and detailed face-offs and things like that. And then when I came back, I was really surprised. Even guys who had been here in the past, they really raised their levels, and I think that was part of the job when the league had raised its level with the quality of players that were bringing in. So you couldn't just give them the basics anymore. You kind of had to have that amount of depth and detail behind your message. So yeah, and now you see now you get the players, the coaches, and people are going to probably argue with me, but the last time I was in the league, I thought the officiating was even took a really nice step. Linesman maybe not as big a step, but the officiating itself took a really good step. So I think the league is grown and grown.
Feel the impact. Witness the goals. Experience the intensity. Experience the emotion. Celebrate the victories. Hockey's back. Are you ready?
So, talk about your season, your summer off season a little bit. I know you've been busy. I hope you've had some sun. You look like you've got a little bit of a bump on the forehead. I know what that's all about, but you've been very busy, and maybe you should tell the Purple Army what happened to the forehead, so they're not worried about you.
Yeah, I've never been accused of being gorgeous before. So, yeah, I do a lot of work helping David Clark, who runs an incredible hockey program for young aspiring hockey players. Right now, we're going through the pro camp, which is 14 to 17-year-old aspiring hockey players, boys and girls, and yeah. Was out there coaching, leading a session, working on some stuff with some guys, and one little turkey got his stick, made a mistake and whacked me in the forehead. So yeah, I've done that. I've helped Rick Strachan, my good friend. My expertise is sharpening his pencils and digging holes for him while we do stuff. But yeah, a lot of fun. And then obviously with the boys being home, I got the tan, which is only from golfing. And my golf game is, yeah, it's okay at times and not so okay at times.
No, I'm glad you mentioned David Clark. I mean, he's a guy that you really miss in the league. And Clark, he was a good player, a good person. So it must be nice for you after all those years of coaching him to trophies. It must be nice to work with him a little bit in the off season.
Yeah, it's amazing. Every time he runs clinics, throughout the season. So every Thursday, when I was unemployed for a little bit here, I'd go in and see him, Mark Levers, Steve Lee, Tom Norton. Just basically, it's obviously a way for me to give back to young hockey players. So many people helped me, grow in my career. But also see those guys and just fellowship and have some time. So it's great, and in my opinion, just the amount of depth and insight and detail that David puts into the program. It's for kids be crazy not to go because it's awesome.
Stevie Lee as well. I mean, you're talking about a who's who of some of the best Panthers, but also some of the best GB players of all time. And if you're a kid or a parent who wants his kid to be around the right people, good people who are great players, that's probably the route to go, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been so lucky and blessed to be able to coach these young men who've gone on not only to good careers, become great men, play for their country. Yeah, I'm so proud of all those guys who I had the privilege to coach.
Unfortunately, guy, you're not going to be able to coach. The information's gotten out. Yu Sato, who we were really looking forward to see play. There was a lot of conversations from us offline, and you said this guy is going to bring a real nice bit of speed and edge. And it's just unfortunate, and it's not the player's fault or the club's fault. It's a visa thing, and it's just unfortunate. But we never say never, and hopefully that visa issue won't be forever.
Yeah, I hope not. And he's a nice kid too. He's a really nice guy. His English was very good. He actually played with Kielp, Darian Kielp in I don't know where he played with him, but it was a while ago. But they're buddies, and it is unfortunate. I mean, that's life nowadays. Rules everywhere. So unfortunately, it was one of those ones that went against us. But yeah, someday if it all works out, we'll welcome him back.
And we wish him all the best. We'll be cheering him on. And like you said, you never say never. Another player that is going to come in on a bit of a short-term situation, and his rights will stay with us for a few seasons. But it's someone you know very well. So Cade Neilson's going to be with us at the start of the season before he heads to North America on an opportunity. But that's a lovely little way to start the season and a lovely little tie-in. I think it's going to work very well for him in North America, but he also knows he can come back and play closer to home.
Yeah, obviously, elephant in the room, it's my son. I mean, I've been coaching Cade for years, ever since he was old enough to stand. He's wanted to play hockey. He's had a hockey stick in his hands. So As he's grown up, he's a model player, plays for GB, always returns for his national team. He's a good soldier. He had committed to go back to school, and he just decided that, at this stage of his life, it really wasn't the path he was happy to be on. So he was looking for a solution. It came rather late. And obviously he decided he wanted to go see how high he could get in the game and work his way up in North America, which all of us respect. And I'm really proud of him that he wants to obviously do that. And then obviously he's going away to Great Britain. We lost you, unfortunately, through the work permit. And, until the East Coast League starts, which is maybe a month gap after GB, we thought, this might be an opportunity. So me being his dad, I didn't want to help out on his behalf, and I didn't really want to help out on the team's behalf, just because I thought it was just a bit of an awkward situation. So his agent and the management team, they talked and it got sorted out where he's going to join us, and he's going to bring a lot to the group in that short period of time. He's obviously, GB's number one center. I mean, yes, we are bringing in my son, but we're bringing in Great Britain's number one centerman. He's a hell of a player, and he should, fit in wherever he fits in with the group.
I know you say it's the elephant in the room and you say it's yourself, but I don't think we should apologize for that. It's you find the best people, you find the best situation, you find the best player, and we should be 100% clear. I mean, those of us in the back room were really pushing and kind of saying, so it wasn't you saying let's. This was a good situation for all parties, and it's not often in pro sports or in life that a situation helps all parties, but this is one of them. So it's the right move, and it'll be a good move. And as we say, I think he's going to be fantastically successful over there. So we wish him all the best, but we're going to look forward to see him in purple. And you've had a full house there. You've got the boys and some of their teammates across. I mean, that's a lot of fun, isn't it? I mean, you're a coach, but you're a dad, and you've got a full house of guys that are enjoying probably picking your brain. So that's got to be nice too.
Yeah. Summers are crazy here at the Neilson household. We have former players. The boys are both at the Ontario Hockey Academy, and they had accumulated so many friends who they played GB20s with or wherever, and they always find their way back to the house, always in my living room. And if they're old enough, they're drinking my beer now. So, but yeah, we've been lucky enough to get some good kids. Obviously, we have Joseph Hazeline here right now. They skate this evening. Lucas Bryan's here right now. Logan's buddy. They all skate this evening, and obviously Cade and Logan are here. So, and looks like someone else just popped out my door. So I don't know who that is, but it's another one of them. So.
You're the cool house, Corey. Remember when we were all young, and it's a long time ago for some of us, but you'd always go to your buddy's house who had the cool dad and the cool mom. So it sounds like you and your wife are the cool parents. And
Well,
half of the Glasgow clan wants to be in your living room in the off season, which is just a lovely thing. I know you're busy. You've got a full house. I believe you have a coaching session tonight with some of those guys, so we won't keep you for much longer. I want to say thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule. Looking forward to seeing you on induction day and all that, but try and enjoy the last few fleeting days of summer and enjoy the coaching and keep your head up here. Those young guys are getting the better of you.
Turkey. All right. Thanks for good talking to you. Go Clan.